Alrighty, what's up, Ringside Nation? The Ring Boys are back. Down one on the night, but it's all good because I got my brother here with me. Artie, how we doing?
What is the Starbucks, brother?
Very Starbucks, brother.
Rear naked choke, brother, with big money. We're here.
Make him tap like chicken. I mean, it shouldn't be a shock. We're all riding with Islam Makhachev. That's the ringer from the Ring Boys. UFC 302, Newark, New Jersey. Welcome to the pre-show. No Doc, but we have his picks. They're on the screen. For all my betting nerds, as I like to call them, the Ring Boys lock of the card and the lock parlay is on your screen. Islam Makhachev, Kevin Holland, Alex Barono for a nice plus 117. So if you want to ride out with the boys, ride out with the boys. Without further ado, we'll get right into the card. Obviously, the main event we have is Islam Makhachev will defend his lightweight belt against Dustin Poirier in a 5-round bout. And yeah, I mean, Artie, hit the bell for me right away, man, and let's get right into it. Artie, give me your thoughts on why we're taking Islam.
I don't know if you can pick against him at this moment. He is the pound for pound number one fighter. He's coming in this, obviously there's been a little bit time off. He hasn't fought in like I think 7 months or something like that. But I think he still wins because he is one of those people. He can take this fight and he can completely neutralize it and not let Dustin use his great offense because he's such a great striker. But I do still think that this might be one of the toughest fights that Islam has up to this point. Dustin has hinted at the fact that he might be retiring after this, depending on the outcome, I think. And he's just been riding a high ever since the BSD fight. He showed flashes of great defense for wrestling. He showed that he can throw in a guillotine for no reason. But he also showed his great striking, getting a knockdown in that, or a knockout in that fight. And I don't know. I think this will be a really good fight. I'm really excited. The thing I'm not excited for, if Islam does go the route of neutralizing and we see 5 rounds of very, very heavy wrestling.
Yeah. I mean, don't be silly, shoot the gilly, but if you do it 3 times in a row and you come for the king, you best not miss. Pound for pound, the number one fighter of the UFC. He's that for a reason. He's minus 600 for a reason. Dustin Poirier obviously beating Benoit Saint Denis in his last fight, earning this title shot with all the politics going on, at the top of the lightweight division. But I want to bring a couple points up why I think Islam's going to have the edge. Number one, Khabib in camp, like the GOAT. In your camp, that's tough to have him as a coach. Like, you get dragged to that corner and you just start hearing a Russian just being yelled at you while you're on the mat. That's the scariest place to be on earth, in my opinion. Number two, they've been in New Jersey for a month and they have the whole camp there. Not just like the whole coaching and training stuff, the whole camp. Like, they're posting the meme and they're like, "Where's nearest Starbucks, brother?" And they're like literally just all trapping out of the front. Like, they've been in camp for a while and they've been in New Jersey. He's ready to go in the climate. And yeah, I think Poirier is going to have to make this one dirty. I mean, that's what he did at the presser. He disrespected him and he said, MF or whatever. And that's incredibly disrespectful in Islam's religion. And that got him going. And if that's the angle you want to take on Islam, pissing him off, he's not going to be pissed in the ring. He's going to come in with a clean mouth. He'll be punching you up and he'll be like, "Okay, let's talk now." I think betting Dustin is definitely not insane. Plus 440. Dustin Poirier is incredible value. Like, this could be near, like, I wouldn't call this like Sean Strickland level of upset. This would probably be way bigger magnitude, but that's good money if you hit on that. And I wouldn't call you crazy for putting a dime on Dustin. The other thing that I feel like no podcasts and no coverage has gotten throughout the week is a big change is in the UFC, and they're doing it on this card. The introduction of the new Fight Glove, and I think it's called like the 3-8, the 3-8, the 5-8, whatever the weird name is. So just a little overall summation, the big like detailed improvements. They're like a ton of new construction features with the wristband. They're fit and sized like specifically for the fighters' hand sizes. They're not just like X amount of sizes. They have like 10 sizes, which is a big margin. The weight of the gloves is being taken down substantially, which is like a near 2-ounce difference. And that doesn't sound that crazy, but that's a harder fist hitting you with every punch and every significant strike. And it's more control on the ground. The shape is different. Hopefully we see less eye pokes. Like, unless you're Chris Weidman, I'm sure you're going to find a way to just gouge someone's eyes out. The shape is different. The material is different. And the other thing that I don't like is there's like a data chip in it. Like, I don't know how that's going to work. Like, if it's actually going to trace and like, how do you, I don't know. The technology, like, is just going to be insane if that's actually accurate. And that's how they're going off depiction. Maybe they use that for scoring. With all those things brought into place, do you think that's going to make this different? And do you like the gold gloves? Because I don't.
I think this is great. One of the things that I'm worried about, and especially given the run that we've had for probably about the last year, we've seen a ton of fighters have broken hands more often. Or maybe they're just calling it out more often, but we've heard about it more often. And when you're taking down the weight of the gloves, that makes for a higher chance of something like that happening. But I'm really excited for technology coming to the UFC because that'll be a great addition. Shout out to the PFL. They do some crazy things like the judges cam and whatnot. Like that is something that's very exciting. So hopefully we start bringing things like that to the UFC. It does add. Maybe we'll get to see more correct significant strike numbers, but who knows? Yeah, I'm excited to see how this works out. But also, I'm excited to see the gloves for some of the other fighters who are incredible strikers like Sean Strickland and see if that makes any difference to him.
Couldn't agree with you anymore. The weird thing that I saw about the gloves, there was like the difference between the black colored glove and the gold colored glove. There were like the 3/8 and the 5/8. I wonder if there was any technical differences in just the overall construction of the glove. It's the same glove, just different color. Why? I don't know. I don't like the gold personally. It's just a weird touch. It's like it's gonna throw like we're getting custom shorts and it's looking sick, and now like a gold glove just makes it look weird. Like I mean, I don't know. I'm not a fan of it personally, but I'm glad there are no differences. Like not one glove is based the last 5 rounds. There's no difference. Just the color and the graphics, which is all cosmetics. It feels like I'm buying a battle pass all over again. Islam Makhachev wins in the second round. My prediction. Yeah, I think that's everything from that one. We'll have to keep track of that data chip, and we'll have to keep track of Artie's next point here.
Speaking of custom shorts, these might be my second favorite behind Alex Pereira's shorts. So I'm just throwing that out there. Dustin Poirier with a great choice of shorts.
Going to his roots. But yeah, I just hope we see a good main event. This card is pretty decent. We're gonna move on and crack right at it. But yeah, I'm hyped. Islam fight weekend. I'm always gonna be ready to go for my guy. Should we move on to the co-main?
Let's do it.
Co-main. Obviously, we got Paulo Costa, Mr. Secret Juice, fighting Sean Strickland. Paulo Costa fighting Bobby Knuckles, making it a decent fight in his last fight, and almost taking him out with that crazy roundhouse kick, or that crazy heel kick. Sean Strickland, I feel like this is a relatively quick turnaround for Sean Strickland. Like we don't normally see him fight, within a 6-month period too often. I'm glad. I'm hyped. They were jabbing and jarring at the presser as they normally do with Sean Strickland's mouth, and Sean Strickland is the favorite. Is going to be my selection, and I think Artie, you're the only one who took Paulo Costa, and I'd love for you to educate us why.
Yeah, to your point, Sean Strickland does fight pretty often, actually. He has titled himself as the UFC company man, and he has had some fights like pretty quick turnaround. So I'm not surprised. He's always training. He's always in the gym. But I did pick Paulo Costa because I think there's a chance that he could rattle Sean just a little bit. Obviously, like you said, they're both coming off a loss. Both two, in my opinion, like really, really good fighters. One of them being a champion now, and the other being the number one contender. So, this is as good as it gets in the middleweight division. I'm glad we're getting action. I don't know. It could be very interesting. Like I said, I think I could see Paulo rattling Sean a little bit. Paulo has proved that he's a great striker and that he can throw in, kicks that will maybe surprise you. And to be honest, I think if Robert Whittaker doesn't have the chin he has, he would have been out on the floor at that point. So I'm not 100% sure if something like that happens if Sean can't eat it. But yeah, I'm just riding with Paulo because of the memes. But also, because I do think he actually has a really good chance. They're both really good contenders in the middleweight division.
The memes. I was back and forth on this one, and then I know MMA never really adds up, but last time Sean Strickland lost back to back, you remember who he fought back to back? It was Alex Pereira and then Jared Cannonier, and he just lost to Drakus in a title fight. And I wouldn't put Paulo Costa in a Jared Cannonier, Alex Pereira, conversation of level. I mean, like I said, MMA math never adds up. I think we're getting a humble Sean Strickland. I think he's going to be, ready to get down and dirty as much as Paulo Costa wants. Paulo Costa needs this win. Thank you for correcting me. I meant to say Paulo Costa never really fights, and the fact that he's turning it around is insane to me. And yeah, I'm glad to see Paulo Costa in the ring, also because of the memes and his social media antics. He's incredibly entertaining, near Marab level when they poke fun of each other, stealing each other's food at the PI. But I think Sean Strickland's going to be hungrier and Paulo Costa's going to be thirstier. And I don't think there's enough secret juice in the UFC 300 Prime bottle. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the fact that Paulo did turn this around super quick is actually a big advantage to him, because he definitely did get to shake off the ring rust. And I think that fight really brought him back to where he's supposed to be, and that is a middleweight contender and actually fighting on a pretty quick basis. So I don't know. I'm excited to see it. This will be a good fight no matter what. Is this 3 or 5 rounds?
3 rounds. That was gonna be my next question before we moved out. If this was 5 rounds, would that have swayed your pick?
Yes, heavily. I think Sean wins 5 rounds no matter what.
Agreed. I wish this was 5 rounds. It would have been more entertaining. Like, I think, decision, whatever, it'll go either way. And I the odds I don't think are depicting of this entirely. I thought it was going to be a way closer. Like Sean Strickland minus 265 is pretty heavily favorited. And I think that's pretty good residual value on Paulo Costa. If you're trying to maximize shareholder value, go for it. And that's what Artie's going for here. Shout out Wall Street Bets. But yeah, I'm taking Sean. I love Sean. And yeah, we'll wait and see. And we'll also wait and see if my lock of the card has bounced back, and if this ringer from the Ring Boys, which Artie will hit the bell for, comes in and does his normal thing. If you don't mind, I'd like to go first on this one because it's my lock of the card, and I'll tell you exactly why.
Go ahead.
Kevin Holland is a guy who, as entertaining as he is, as controversial as he is on a 2-fight losing streak, and was not his normal self the last time we saw him fight Michael Venom Page. Like, he got pissed off. Like, he was just in his head. I feel like, I don't know if he wasn't in camp correctly. We can always just theorize what, behind the scenes as a fan. But as a fan of Kevin Holland and watching him most of his career, what Michel Pereira did to Michal Oleksiejczuk has showed a lot of holes in his game. And if Kevin Holland actually, doesn't mess around and wants to take this to the mat, I think he has a strong chance. Not even just grappling. Like, not even, let's get on the mat. Let's get this down and dirty. Like Khamzat Chimaev style, when he shot right him in the first 10 seconds of the fight. Just get it to the mat, get it going. If we do that, we're in great shape. And I just can't see Kevin Holland lose. And I just saw the live odds change on the side. He's now minus 300. So I don't know if that affects the lock of the card. We'll have to fix that. But yeah, that's why he's my lock of the card. I can't see Kevin Holland losing again. And after, Oleksiejczuk's last performance against Michel Pereira in March, which was in March, like 2 months after that bad of a loss, take your time. And I don't think he's doing that. I think that's the wrong approach. And getting Kevin Holland is incredibly unlucky. Artie?
Yeah, I 100% agree. There is nothing that could change my mind about picking Kevin Holland here. I don't think Michal Oleksiejczuk is as good of a fighter as Kevin Holland is. He proved that last time. There was a reason I was the only one I picked against him on that card, just to remind you. And like you said, Kevin Holland, he is a black belt jiu-jitsu practitioner. If he wanted to, he could come out and make this quick. Oleksiejczuk does not have very good wrestling defense. He does not have very good wrestling. And Kevin Holland, if he knows what he's doing with this one, or he comes out to entertain, so I guess we'll see what's going to happen.
It's also, I don't know what, it is behind the scenes and how the UFC works on payroll. I'm not, I'm not a financial expert, but he is 15. Like, he is still ranked. He's the last ranked in the welterweight division. So I know he's going to be fighting for life and death to stay in the ranks. And, you know, we say it all the time, the mountain, you got to climb this mountain to go to the ranks. And it seems he's started to become that guy. And I don't think he wants to. That's not the mindset of Kevin Holland. Like, as entertaining and as funny as he is, like, if you watch the Nina Drama, like, interview, like, he was just, like, he's here, he's having fun, he's his normal self. And, like, the last time, his demeanor in his last fight, it just didn't seem like the normal Kevin Holland. So good to have you back, chap. Make me some money. Let's ride with the boys. And let's go into the other lock of the card and the other ringer of the parlay, Alex Morono.
Add one more point to play. I guess, okay.
I'm sorry. Alex Morono is another guy we saw pretty recently, right? Alex Morono fought literally in April against McGee. That did go to a decision, but like in my eyes, that was a near dominant performance. Not too many flaws in Alex Morono's game. Nico Price is on a main card, which is pretty cool at 34 years old. I think he's starting to show signs of, fatigue. Funny enough, he also fought Phil Rowe. I didn't know that, and he lost to him, which I'll get into why I'm picking Phil Rowe a little later. But I think Nico Price is past his prime, doesn't fight too often. And I don't know. He lost to like Robbie Lauer last time or someone. Like, I don't know. I just think the ship has sailed on Nico Price. Alex Morono's on a steady incline. He's got momentum, and I hope you agree with me, Artie.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Alex Morono is somebody who I feel like he gets thrown into like random cards. And I don't know that he actually gets to choose too many of his fights. I think Dana points and he says, that's who you're fighting. And he usually just says, okay. But majority of the time, he comes out on top. He's a very well-rounded fighter. He's 33. He has great wrestling defense. He's a great striker. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know why you would pick against Alex Morono in this case. So, or other lock of the card.
Yeah, I mean, even in his last fight, the fight against, was it Buckley? Like, he obviously got dominated, and the card was 30-27. I think there was a 30-26 in there too at some point, but if you go back and really watch that fight and pay attention to him, it didn't seem like he was swinging that too far off. And Buckley is like one of those fighters that when we do the Ring Boys Award show later in the year, he'll be mentioned for a few things for sure.
Yeah, true contender in that division. So
definitely keep an eye on him. And we'll keep an eye on welterweight from the perspective of Randy Brown fighting Ilushu Zaleski dos Santos. Hopefully I didn't botch that because we're all riding with Dos Santos, and it's another ringer for the Ring Boys. There's just something about, what were you saying behind the scenes? I don't want to steal your credit for you. Like over 36-year-old Brazilians just always winning. I say
this every time because every time they win.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so that's why we're riding with Dos Santos. And not for nothing, if you watch his last fight, which was a draw, he came out and made it like one of the like most fun striking performances that I've seen in a while against a fighter who was picked to win by him heavily. So that's part of the reason why I picked him. You saw me change my pick because I did click into the profile. I did remind myself. But I don't know that Randy Brown is ready for that type of pressure. He's a very good fighter. He's obviously 4 years younger, but I think there is a type of pressure that Dos Santos can bring to him that he might be overwhelmed with. So that's why we're riding with him.
And his last fight was Rinat Fakhretdinov. Like, this isn't just any normal fighter that he just drew. He drew a guy who's like on the come up. This guy's beaten Benoit Saint Denis. Sure, make the argument it was Benoit Saint Denis before he was Benoit Saint Denis. And he's lost to Muslim Salikov, and Randy Rude Boy Brown just knocked out Muslim Salikov. Sure, you can do the MMA math, but I just have a really good feel for Dos Santos. This is a guy who is a striker, doesn't have the range, I don't think. Yeah, Rude Boy 5-inch reach advantage, but he's ready to get down and dirty. And if you look at the striking numbers, Randy Rude Boy Brown, 4.37 significant strikes landed per minute to Zaleski's 4.52, and Zaleski's fought him more. And he has a higher, significant strike. And the math on that is, a little bit on the accuracy aspect. I'm always being yelled at for bringing up numbers and stats on the pod that are irrelevant. So that may not be the most, but I mean, the proof's in the pudding, bruh. And I think Dos Santos is going to show levels. He's not, anywhere near the start of his career. I don't think he has ring rust at 37 years old. I think Rude Boy Brown is going to try to ride the hype. And it's either he's going to knock him out or bust. If it goes to decision, it's going to be in Dos Santos' favor. And I think he's just a better, well overall fighter, and the experience is going to show. And it even swayed Artie's pick. So that should be speaking volumes. This guy never changes his mind. You know what I mean? Another aspect about never changing your mind, I changed my mind and I turned our next fight on Roman Kopylov into a ringer, so we can hit the bell for my boy. Cesar Almeida beat Alex Pereira, and that's the whole reason I picked him the last time he fought back in what? It was pretty recently. He fought in April against Budka, and now he has the unfortunate follow in the line of the card to go through Roman Kopylov, who lost to Fluffy recently. But like, if you watch that, like, Fluffy is a really good ground expert, and it's like Kopylov, maybe not having the best camp. You can make whatever excuse ever, but Artie, I don't know what your thoughts and feelings. Like, I swayed because thinking about what Cesar Almeida would have to do to just outstrike Kopylov is difficult nonetheless. But it's also the grappling. Like, where do you see the grappling coming into play for Roman here?
I mean, I don't know. I think Roman Kopylov, he is much better than his last loss was, really. I wonder if there was some preparation issues or something, but like, he's a much better fighter than that, and there is no way that I couldn't pick against him, especially being that he is somebody who always wants to fight. It's just that he never really gets the call. And he's on a quick turnaround, which should be good for him. And same thing for Cesar, who's also on a pretty quick turnaround. So I don't know. I don't think anybody really beats him on striking, so that's the reason I'm still going with him.
I agree. I originally had Cesar Almeida because I thought, he's at camp with Extreme Couture. He's definitely been training with Sean Strickland. He's been learning things from Sean or two. He's knocked out Alex Pereira in the past. But when you look at the resume of who Cesar Almeida has knocked out and gone to decision versus Roman Kopylov, like, I think there's going to be levels. And I think personally, this is going to be fight of the night. I hope I'm wrong. Like, I think this has potential for sure, just knowing these guys' backgrounds. But, and I mean, the odds reflect it. But I think Roman Kopylov gets his hand raised at the end of the night and gets back up and gets a fight, hopefully before the end of the year. Probably on one of these Abu Dhabi cards. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. We got a few. We got one in August. Maybe he turns it around. There's still some slots. We got one in October. Roman Kopylov has to stay hungry in order to bounce back and keep his name in the rankings. From one Almeida to another, Yaltin Almeida fighting Alexander Romanov. I mean, I wanted to take Alexander Romanov, not because I'm Moldovan. He's like the only Moldovan fighter there is out there. But I just can't pick against Yaltin Almeida. One, because he's on my fantasy team, and this is the only fantasy fighter in the entirety of it. But it's just like, I just don't see Alexander Romanov besting Yaltin in 3 rounds. Artie, why do you pick Romanov here?
Because Romanov is somebody who used to be really good at wrestling, and that was part of his, the way that he worked up in the UFC. He's lost some fights. His 2 losses came to Bam Bam and Alexander Volkov, who are true contenders in the heavyweight division. Obviously, Bam Bam kind of recent fall off. We won't talk about that though. But Curtis Blades showed something that if you can defend it against the other media's wrestling, there is a chance that you could outstrike him. And I could see Alexander Romanov doing this. However, the big issue here is I think Romanov gassed out pretty bad in his last fight. And if Yaltin is able to just stick him on the fence and just drag him around the fence, or not even take him down, but just get his stamina completely drained out, he will win just by default at that point. I don't think Alexander is as physically in shape as Yaltin is. Obviously, Yaltin could probably make light heavyweight if he really wanted to. But obviously he bulks. He's trying to be a true heavyweight. But I don't know. I think there's flaws in Yelton's game plan most of the time. And if you can expose his wrestling and you can have some great takedown defense, there's a good possibility you could win. And Alexander Romanov was somebody who was, a big prospect in the heavyweight division. So could see a big return here.
To say Yalton Almeida has flaws in his game is an understatement in my eyes. And to take him at betting at minus 325, you must be like really hoping your parlay hits and you're just trying to sprinkle a little extra bills on the side. I know I'm picking him. I know I'm very vocal about my feelings about picking him, but he's listed as a boxer. And like you forget, he does have hands. He has great striking percentages. He has the reach. And you brought up the main point I was going to bring up. He like is fighting at like 240, 235 pounds every time he's in the heavyweight division. And he's not doing it because he's like, afraid of weight bullying or whatnot. He just wants to maintain his stamina because he knows that if he doesn't do what he did against Curtis Blades and expose himself and just let him do whatever he wants to him on the ground, we'll have to go. And it's like Romanov's not a wrestler like Blades is, and he's not the caliber of fighter of Blades is. So I hope he comes in slower, lets Romanov gas himself out. Otherwise, we're going to be in for a really sick knockout, a really good fight, a really big bang, or a really, really boring, slow decision that just goes in Yalton's favor. So that's why I'm riding with Yalton. I think it's just strategically a better pick on my part, and I hope he wins for my fantasy team. You got to finish Romanov. I'm sorry. I love the Moldovan love I'm getting, but you got to finish Romanov, or it's not a good look for you going into the abyss of the heavyweight rankings. Because right now, dude, he's what, 7? And you have Stipe Volkov in front of you. Like, you need to start finishing fights and finishing your dinner if you want to get up there and get a title shot at some point. Because Yalton Almeida has the intangibles, has the coaching background, has everything it takes to be a heavyweight champion. He just doesn't have the IQ, it seems, in his last few fights. So I hope he smartens up, not for my sake, but for his own. God. Another fight. Grant Dawson, ringer for the Ring Boys. Hit that bell for me real quick, too. Minus 520 on the betting lines. Did you know Grant Dawson was favorite in that Bobby Green fight? And then Bobby Green just smoked him the last time he fought in 33 seconds?
Yes, I'm fully aware.
Was it you that was saying to take Grant Dawson, or was it Doc? It was probably you. It was probably Doc, too.
No, I bet Bobby. I always bet Bobby.
Yeah,
not bet. I put my pick for Bobby every time. So
yeah. I remember Doc telling me, dude, Grant Dawson has a lot of flaws in his game, and then we all pick him to just be like a ringer. Joe Selecki losing to, I think it was Jakar Close back in December. So it's been 6 months, been a good camp. Team Salty Dog do jiu-jitsu. Love a camp name like that. Love a good underdog. I see some value. I just don't see realistic edging. And I don't think, an MMA fighter against a BJJ guy like Grant Dawson will be able to do damage to steal it, whether scoring or finish the guy. So unless Joel Selecki comes out, catches him, I don't see Grant Dawson losing.
Yeah, I agree. And I think Grant Dawson himself is a very good wrestler as well. You kind of have to be at the 155-pound division. So I don't know that the odds are necessarily correct. I think those are a little too far apart. Minus 550 is crazy. But I still think Grant Dawson takes this. He should. He is a prospect in the division. Everybody's got their eyes on him, and he has to bounce back after the Bobby Green knockout. That was insane. So that's why I'm picking him.
And a ringer from the Ring Boys. Hopefully we get some plays on that. We get some money back on that, and we start the night off going into some profit. Hey Phil Rowe, how are you? Haven't seen you since June. Fighting Jake Matthews, and this is a pretty good matchup. Like, stylistically, Jake Matthews is like this scary freestyle guy who's just down to get down and dirty as always. I'm probably overusing that phrase at this point. But yeah, I'll pass the torch off to you, Artie, and tell me why you're going with Jake Matthews and you're riding with the Celtic kid.
I don't know. I think if you lose a Neil Magny, it's just proof that you don't belong into contention for the belt in the welterweight division. Because we continue to say this specific thing, and it's he's what, the gatekeeper for the division, right? Like some others are. And if you can't get past that guy, I don't know that you really belong. But this should be a close fight. I think, once again, I know the odds are where they are, but you could make this a coin flip. I think they're both somebody that needs to prove themselves in this fight in particular, and that's the reason why they're so far down in the prelims.
Did you know Phil Rowe has a 7-inch reach advantage?
Yes, I do.
Did you know Phil Rowe has never lost when he has higher than a 5-inch reach advantage? Shout out to whatever nerd put that on Twitter, and I don't know why that just spoke to me. Look, I never really take underdogs. I think this is a really good bet for my eyes. I think Phil Rowe has what it takes, and he'll use his size. He has pretty decent takedown defense. I know, obviously, I don't think this one's going to the mat, or at least it shouldn't too much. And I think these guys are actually going to put on a pretty good show. Like you said, it was a coin flip. Wanted to flip a coin on this, and then I saw that, and I saw he fought Neil Magny, and he took Neil Magny to a split decision. It's not like he just lost to Neil Magny. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I like Phil Rowe. He's talking to me. Hopefully he's talking to me nice, and hopefully we make some returns on that. And I get that one in. That would be a good one to steal. Be a pretty good one to steal. Another fight that would be pretty good to steal. Don't know why Doc isn't here, and he's picking Mickey Gall at plus 230 to defeat Basil Hafez. I think the last time Doc took like a plus 200 fighter and like hit and was like very vocal about it was that Costa guy, the guy with the crazy hair, Melgaz Costa, whatever, like last year.
Yeah.
And he was like, I told you guys, you should have listened to me. And it's like, okay, I wish I did listen to you. And wasn't able to talk to him about him this week. Hopefully we'll get his thoughts on the post show. But unless like I'm overlooking something, you're overlooking something, I'm looking at the picture of these two guys just standing side by side. Basil Hafez is one mean dude. And he's a switch guy. He's an orthodox guy fighting a switch guy. And I think he's going to stand his ground and just knock out Mickey Gall. Artie?
Not for nothing. This dude Basil Hafez took Jack Maddalena to a split decision that Basil Hafez could have actually won, in my opinion, given, maybe there's some works going on and there's a prospect on, but yeah, I don't know. Like, Mickey Gall lost to Mac Malott in his last one as well, who's also proven that maybe he's a little too young in the division, but like, I don't know. The Basil Hafez, like, I don't know how he loses, I guess. Like, the striking's there, the takedowns are there. Like, this should be a good fight, but I think Basil's going to take it no matter what.
I think this is just a Hail Mary on Doc's behalf. Unless he really did his homework, I think he was just like, yeah, let's just throw this in here. He lost to Mike Malott. He lost to Alex Morono, who's also on this card. And I just don't know. And he's fought twice in the past 4 years. There's ring rust. There's just no value here for me. Like, Basil Hafez is actually minus 500 now. Not those lines. And I don't know if Doc looks right. I hope to hear a good explanation rather than, yeah, no, I was just messing around. Because if he's right and he rubs it in our face on the post show, I'm just gonna be quiet for that whole segment. I don't even want to listen to him. What I do want to listen to more of is the content that we're getting from Paulo Costa and Aylin Perez, just like twerking behind the scenes, having fun in the hotel, cutting weight together. Like, what is going on? Aylin Perez fighting Jocelyn Edwards. I'm riding with Aylin Perez. Artie, you're riding with Aylin Perez. Tell me why you're liking the Argentinian.
I mean, she's proven why she's a prospect in the division. Obviously, not all of it looks super clean in her wins, but she's, I think, here to stay. And, nonetheless, this should be a good fight no matter what, because I think Jocelyn Edwards is also a really good fighter. But Eileen has proven why we should be betting on her or picking her in all these fights.
I think this is a safe bet for a fight to go to the distance. Both these girls just always fight for points. And I love Aylin Perez, like her antics outside the ring, which will keep it PG. If you know what she does, you know what she does. But she's just so much fun to watch because I know they're bantamweight, but they fight like flyweights. They normally throw so many strikes. And as you said, Ailin Perez has proved herself. I think she definitely should be the favorite. I think she definitely should win by unanimous decision. And the only way I see Edwards winning is either putting on a better performance. Perez isn't locked in. And you're going to have to knock out Perez if you're really going to want to stop her, it seems. And it's not easy to do. It's not easy to do. Especially because she's so tiny. You know what I mean? It's like you have a 4-inch reach advantage, but it's hard to hit someone who's shorter than you. And it's hard to, in like retrospect, practice for someone shorter and get someone in the camp like that and be able to sprawl and not be taken down. Not that she's going to shoot takedowns or whatever, or go for submissions, but I don't know. Fighting a shorter fighter, like I'm someone who's 6'2", like that would definitely annoy me if I was fighting someone who's 5'8", 5'9". I would just throw kicks. I would just start kicking. I'd get so pissed. And that's why I'm not a fighter. And that's why I have a podcast. And that's why Andre Lima seemingly missing weight by 4 pounds in another flyweight fight with a ton of strikes. And Artie, who probably don't have the stat the most accurate, but tell me the stat when the favorite fighter misses weight. What normally happens?
I have no idea, but they win way more than they lose. It's just that's where we're at this point. And I think if you're picking against Andre Lima, you might be a little crazy. However, Mitch Raposo, coming from Cage Warriors, where he was on a really good run, and usually when you're the first fight on any card, that means there's going to be fireworks. Andre Lima has proven that he is a very, very good fighter in the flyweight division. Hopefully he can make weight again. Obviously, his last fight, he won because of a DQ. He will get to see that bite mark tattoo, so I'm excited for that 100%. But yeah, I'm just excited to see this one. Like I said, if you're the first fight of any card, that means fireworks, so I'm here for it.
Agreed. And this is also going to be the first fight with the new gloves, so we'll have to see what both these 25-year-olds do. This is a ringer from the Ring Boys, but we're not ringing the bell because he missed weight. Overruled. We don't deserve a bell if you come onto this podcast and you miss weight. Do you agree with me?
I agree. Yeah, I'm cool with that.
That's your card, UFC 302. The ringer parlay I'll just read off again: Islam Makhachev, Kevin Holland, Alex Morono, Elishu Zaleski dos Santos, Roman Kopylov, Grant Dawson, and Andre Lima, who can't make weight. 4 pounds. 4 pounds at flyweight? Brother, stop going to McDonald's before the fight. Stop.
Brother,
McDonald's? There is McDonald's. Real quick, thank you so much for the love in the pod. I think we're smashing it on the algorithm. We're getting some viewership, so that's always motivating to see for the boys. It's summertime. We're about to be outside. Still a lot of fights. The month of June looks sick. And we got fights every weekend. We got big fights every weekend. We're very excited. We appreciate the love and the support and the viewership. Great to have my guy Artie back. I missed you so much, man. And Artie, anything else before we sign off here?
No, I was super hyped for this one. I'm extremely excited. Be on the lookout for some shorts coming from the guys. And I'm not talking about the things that you wear. I'm talking about YouTube shorts. We're going to be throwing that in. We got an editor, and we're really excited to bring some of that content to you as well. But what I'm really excited for is the whole month of June for the UFC, because it is absolutely stacked. So can't wait to see you guys in the next episode.
Yeah, we got 302. We got Kanir Manov next weekend. The weekend after, we got Alex Perez, Tatsuro Taira. Then we got a Khamzat Chimaev fight. Come on now. My boy Khamzat's actually fighting, about to give me some fantasy points. Beat Bobby Knuckles. And then, this guy Conor McGregor, if he shows up and stops going to parties and, actually makes weight, I'd be impressed. And he fights to wrap up the end of the month. You may have heard him. It's kind of a big deal, I guess. So, yeah. Again, by the common man, for the common man. Thank you so much, Ringside Nation. Big fight weekend. Can't wait to see Islam Makhachev fight. Kind of annoyed about the gold gloves, but we'll see how I feel about it when Bruce Buffer grabs the mic and it's time. Till then, we'll see you on the post show. Peace. Bye.